What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another picks, preview, and prediction stream. If you haven't already, smash that like button and subscribe. We post content every single week on this channel. We stream every single weekend. And speaking of streaming, we're going to get through this one real quick. Not a lot of interaction, barely any interaction at all. You guys can talk amongst yourselves in the live chat, but we're going to get through these in hopefully 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, because an amazing MMA promotion is on right now streaming, Deep Tokyo Impact 2024, and we've already missed 4 finishes in literally 17 minutes. That is how amazing this league is. Who gives a fuck about the UFC, honestly, at the end of the day, when you have superior rule set Japanese MMA on? Alas, most of you care about UFC and not the superior rule set and the better MMA promotion, more entertaining MMA promotion. So I'm appeasing you guys here. Let's get into it. First fight on the card, we have Maheshate Hayisaer against Nikolas Motta. I'm going with Hayisaer. I am a paying member of the Deep YouTube channel, Pierre. 10-3 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He did win his last fight, however, it was a close decision against Gabriel Benitez. An amazing knockout against Steve Garcia, though, and that's going to age well, given how good Steve Garcia has been since. Nikolas Motta, 14-5 as a pro. High ceiling as a prospect, but seemingly low floor right now, as he did win his last fight, and it was a great KO/TKO against Tom Nolan. Look, it was a good win against a prospect in Tom Nolan, but he is pretty chinny. Hayisaer is tough, and Hayisaer hits hard, man. So I am going with Maheshate Hayisaer in this one. I know Motta hits hard as well, but these days Motta can't really take a punch to dish one out. 10 KO/TKOs, 4 decisions, but 4 of his losses have been via KO/TKO. By no means a top prospect is Hayisaer, but solid, younger, faster, with good power. Fights at a good pace. One of the few Wulin Feng guys who's been able to translate over to the UFC. And he's fought some pretty decent guys as well. Obviously, Motta has the experience. Obviously, Motta has power, high ceiling, low floor. And I don't think he's really reached his ceiling in the UFC. Bigger reach. Longer reach, I should say, for Hayisaer. And again, Motta just a little chinny these days, so we are going with Hayisaer. Long Xiao against Quang Lee. I am going with the Minnesota boy and LFA alumni, Quang Lee. In this one, 8-1 as a pro, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, but a really good performance against Chris Gutierrez. Short notice against Chris Gutierrez, no less. He was supposed to be on Dana White's Contender Series, gets a short notice call-up, and actually performs quite well. Fuck, we're missing a really good fight on stream right now, guys. Oh, but anyways, that's okay. We might just have to cancel the deep stream. There's too many finishes on the deep stream for us to keep up right now, guys. Mando Gutierrez coming up as well. Anyways, Quang Lee. Sorry, I won't be distracted anymore, I promise. Really good performance against Chris Gutierrez. I will say that his low kicks are pretty good. His boxing was pretty good. I would say all around, he was pretty good against a top guy who, I mean, Chris Gutierrez, he hangs like low. I don't think he's ranked right now, but he's always like right outside the rankings or around that like 15, 13 spot. So in your debut in the UFC, lost 2 rounds, but he might have even lost all 3 rounds, and he might have in the judges' scorecards, but I know he made 2 of them at least close and held his own. Long Xiao, 26-9, so you could make the argument has more experience. 4-1 in his last 5. He is the favorite coming into this one. He also lost his last 5. I see everyone in the live chat, and I appreciate you guys. We're firing through these predictions because we have the actual promotion that matters this weekend in deep on right now, and we got to get to that as quick as possible. 4 KO/TKOs, 9 submissions, 13 decisions. Lost in 1 championship, lost in the UFC. Good to see you, Ethan. It's been a while. Hope you having a good fall. Wulin Feng champ, but yeah, beat a 9-6 guy in Wulin Feng. Quang Lee hits harder. He's more sound, trains out of a better gym. And though maybe doesn't have as much pro experience, has definitely fought better guys recently. and is shown to be more well-rounded in my opinion. Some decent amateur fights as well, so he's not like insanely I don't know, out of it as far as experience, right? Like he has a lot of experience as well. Long Xiao, typical, fighter, young fighter out of China with a ton of fights under their belt, but not necessarily a lot of amazing performance. Base Goddess, I'm racing. By the way, thank you for being a member. I'm racing to stream deep, and then we're doing deep UFC. Then right after UFC, we're not sleeping. We're going right to Cage Wars. Right after Cage Wars, we're going right to BKFC. Schedules posted. What's up, Rob's neighbor? Good to see you. Good to see you, Ethan. Good to see you as well, Bo Jackson. Going Quan Lee on this one. Next up the card, we got Loner Kavanagh against Jose Ochoa. Now, I had no idea actually Loner Kavanagh was part Chinese. I really didn't. I just thought he was trolling Izzy with this. But anyways, Jose Ochoa out of Peru, so he's got a hell of a chin. Tough prospect coming out of Peru, 7-0 as a pro. 4-1 no contest in his last 5 fights on a 2-fight win streak. Good win in LFA. And at least he got the knockout in that one. Loner Kavanagh, amazing boxing, very well rounded, has a lot of power. Do I think he's going to knock out Jose? I mean, if he does, then it just it solidifies that okay, this guy he's a problem because Antoine Ho never been finished. Jose Ochoa never been finished, never been beaten, and has that Peruvian chin. So if Loner Kavanagh can crack that Peruvian chin, bro, that's going to be huge. He had an amazing performance on Dana White's Contender Series. Again, Antoine Ho, solid fighter, undefeated as well, and he knocked him into the friggin' stratosphere. Good win in Cage Wars. I mean, overall, his resume building up. And I know he's only 7-0, but building up to his last fight was solid. Ochoa just hasn't faced the same level of competition. So I am going Loner Kavanagh on this one. What other notes do I have? Went through all of it there. All right, next fight. Next fight up the card, we have Carlos Hernandez against Nyamjargal Tumendemberel. Now, Tumendemberel out of Mongolia. Honestly, Mongolian fighters have been doing well in mixed martial arts as of late, particularly in one championship. 8-0 as a pro. He is the slight underdog in this one. He's a good grappler. Not the best hands. But has finished most of his fights. 7 finishes, 2 KO goes, 5 submissions, 3-1, an MGL1 fighting championship. And his road to UFC fights have been okay. A split decision and then a rear naked choke. So a finish, split decision. He was the Gladiator champ, which he was up against a 15-10-2 guy. So and beat a 4-0 guy to win the MGL belt. So not a bad win there. His resume is not too bad. Carlos Hernandez has been fighting better fighters, though, on the regional scene and in the UFC. And though 2-3 in his last 5 fights, I know he came back strong against Dennis Bondar. What a crazy and savage finish that was. Lost to Tsuru Terra, got knocked out, but then faced another Japanese top prospect in Rei Tsuura, who is a grappling phenom. And actually, Carlos Hernandez made that a very close fight. Even Dana White praised his performance in that one, as it was back and forth, kind of wrestling background versus more of a just grappling background, right? More of like a jiu-jitsu base. So though he lost that one decision, it was a good performance. One of the 2 rounds. I mean, he won 1 round, I'm pretty sure, and one of the last rounds was arguable. I do think that the proper guy won. And honestly, Hernandez might be fighting for a contract or fighting to stay in the UFC, right? Since he's on a 2-fight losing streak. I do think he's had better competition. I think he's the better wrestler. And I think if this stays on the feet, his boxing is a little bit better too. So I am going Carlos Hernandez. What do I have in my notes? Yeah, this is it. Final chance for Carlos Hernandez. Did have a good performance in his last fight. Okay, boxing. Another submission and grappling threat that he's going up against, but not as good as Ray. The Mongolians are tough, though. They got good chins. And I watched some of his fights, and it seems like he has power, but not against non-chinny guys. And I don't think Hernandez is going to just take some of those big shots or allow him to land some of those big shots with ease. All right, next fight up on the card. We have Ming against Xiaocan Feng. I'm going with Xiaocan Feng in this one. She's a big favorite for a reason. Just overall stronger and a little bit more polished. Oh my God. Sorry, I just saw a crazy knockout in deep where a guy got knocked the fuck out cold. That's the 5th knockout in 30 minutes for deep, by the way, guys. And everyone keeps clowning me for saying that this promotion is not the best promotion this weekend. This promotion is not the real people's promotion this week, and everyone's fucking talking about the UFC left, right, and center where we got fucking finish after finish on deep. Sorry. I'm just butthurt that it started early and we're late for it. Ming 16-5 as a pro, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. That was a fucking crazy knockout, though, guys. Fire up deep. If you're a real MMA fan, you're firing up deep right now. If you aren't watching deep right now, I'm convinced you are not a real MMA fan. As simple as that. Look, she had a split decision in her last fight, and credit to her, she kind of came back in that one because there were moments where she was losing. But I will say her opponent was the big favorite in that one as well. And Dong kind of shit the bed. Let's be honest. Dong shit the bed and proved that she actually wasn't as great as we all thought she was. And Ming kind of exposed her. But Ming she's not super polished. Sure, she's got some striking, and I'm pretty sure she's got a judo background. But Xiaocan Feng is just way more polished all around in mixed martial arts. So Ming she's gritty, and I was happy to see her get the win in her last fight. But I think Feng is going to just outskill her in this one, and just more power, more technical, a little bit stronger. She was, and I'm pretty sure she still is, yes, the Happy Elephant MMA champion, where she won that belt against an 8-3 gal, and won the Wulin Feng championship against a 13-4 gal as well. So solid win streak for the 10-2 fighter, 22 years of age as well. And she's beaten a lot of opponents, not just the usual Wulin Feng cans, because she's bounced around other promotions. Again, Ming decent striking, I guess, but just seemed kind of sloppy, but it was effective-ish in her last fight because her opponent was really not that great. All right, next we got Kiru Sahota against Dong Choi. This one really could go either way. Kiru Sahota's a little bit taller, a little bit lankier. Dong Choi has not fought as many has not fought the same level of competition as Kiru just yet. However, Kiru loses whenever he faces anyone of better talent, of better competition. He's 12-2 as a pro, fighting out of the UK. 6 KO, TKOs, 2 submissions, 4 decisions, 3-1 in cage steel. I mean, and even as his road to UFC fights, split decision, unanimous decision. I mean, they're okay. Beat a 10-14 guy for a belt or whatever. Lost to a 4-0 guy when he was 9-1. Lost to a 7-4 guy when he was 5-0. And even on the amateur scene, he went 12-8 as an amateur. A lot of experience there, though. Dong Choi, 8-0, undefeated, slight favorite, 25 years of age. 3 KO TKOs, 5 decisions. Again, he won his belt against a 3-0 guy and 3-8 guy, whatever. But he did beat an 8-3 guy after that in Kenta Kubo in Gladiator. Gladiator's a good league. 2 split decisions on road to UFC. However, against a 10-3 guy and a 13-3 guy. So I don't hate that. I'm going Dong Choi. In this one. Like I said, close. Neither of them are like well proven yet, even on the amateur scene. Neither impressed too much on road to UFC. Dong Choi has beaten decent guys, but honestly, before his road to UFC, the good guys that he's beaten were back in like 2022, 2023, this last year, and kind of crushed some cans. Koreans generally are tough though, and are generally well-rounded. However, Dong Choi hasn't developed in road, not to UFC, but road FC. So there's that. Sahota has the reach, decent strikes, but really he's only looked dominant against Met guys overall. He has beaten some good guys, but he just hasn't been consistent. Slight edge to the a little bit younger, undefeated Donghu Choi that I'm banking on being a little bit more well-rounded. All right. Usually we're a lot more interactive in these streams, guys. We literally Deep is on right now, and we have to get to covering it as we are late. So I'm firing through this. Appreciate you guys. If you want to talk about any of the UFC picks, hit me up in the Deep stream. If you want to talk about any of the my picks even further, we will be streaming UFC as well. Su Young Yu. That is right. I did pick him to win. Going with the Korean again. Jiu-Jitsu, 13-3 as a pro. He is 3-1-1 in his last 5, 28 years of age. He's the favorite coming out of Korea. 3 KO TKOs, 5 submissions, 5 decisions. Has never been submitted. 5-2 in TFC. So 5-1 in TFC. Split decision, unanimous decision, road to UFC against Shohei Nose. He's okay. That's actually not a bad win. I don't know much about this guy, but 9-1 split. No contest in Black Combat. Did fight in Neza, though. He's the Deep champ, Black Combat champ, and Neza champ, bro. 3 belts in 3 really good promotions, beating decent guys to get the title on the regional scene. Not in this guy, but at least to regain his title, I guess, in Black Combat. Fought a decent guy in UAE Warriors as well. Lost a decision. Going up against Balgyn Jenisuly, who a lot of people are high on him. 19-5 as a pro, 4-1 in his last 5 fights on a 4-fight win streak. He is the slight underdog. 5 KO TKOs, 9 submissions, 4 decisions, 8-2 in Wulin Feng, 2-1 in Road UFC, 1-2 in CKF. I guess he looked better on Road to UFC in his last 2 fights. Beat a Meg guy in a Lash Pride. Split decision against this guy in UAE Warriors. Lost a split. The talent is there. He just hasn't proven it against top guys. Top regional guys anyways. And Su Young Yu has. So I'm going with Su Young Yu. Su Young Yu. Well-rounded. Never been submitted. 8 finishes. Dangerous. Good fights, but did not dominate on Road to UFC in his fights. Deep champ, Neza champ, and Black Combat champ, like I said, fought everywhere and overall better competition. Good underdog, though, because he's well-rounded and dangerous, too. And overall, he's looked better in this competition. Dude, we're about to see another finish in Deep. Unbelievable stuff. All right, moving up the card here. And again, big shout for those who are hanging out with us for LFA, for this stream. And then we'll be, like I said, we'll be back to being interactive on the Deep stream. And UFC, of course. Ozzy Diaz against Mingyang Zhang, ladies and gentlemen. Ozzy Diaz was the fighter who got knocked the fuck out by Be Like Joe Pyfer, but then went back on the regional scene and got 2 knockouts of his own. He is a good striker, ladies and gentlemen. He is a good striker and kind of a dangerous finisher as well. 34 years of age, plus 270. He's not an up-and-comer like that of Mingyang Zhang. However, out of King's MMA, has decent takedown defense because he keeps fights on the feet so that he can knock you out. 7 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 0 decisions. 4-0 in LFA, 2-0 in Bellator, and lost in the UFC to Be Like Joe Pyfer. He was the former LFA champ and LXF champ. But he went back on the regional scene, getting 2 nice knockouts is solid. Solid amateur career. Knocks out guys left, right, and center. Even, when he went to Bellator, 3-1, fought a 5-2 guy. Legit. But is he as scary? Despite finishing all those guys, is he as scary as Mingyang Zhang? I'm going to say no. 17-6 as a pro. Has not faced the same level of competition overall in his career as Ozzy Diaz. But the Mountain Tiger has faced good competition. He's on a fucking run right now as well. 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Only 26 years of age. He's the biggest 205er? No, but he's strong and he's got power in his shots. 11 KO TKOs, 6 submissions, 0 decisions as well. We have 2 guys who only have finishes going head-to-head in this one. 1-0 in the UFC, and he definitely impressed in that one. 6-1 in Wulin Feng and 3-0 in Hoya FC. Can I get a Hoya? 15-5. Brenson Ribeiro was the first guy that he beat in the UFC, and honestly, a tough guy to finish, and he knocked him the fuck out. Or knocked him down and then finished him with the hammer fist. Before then, beat a solid 7-2 on road to UFC. Wulin Feng didn't beat the best guys, but really, who does in Wulin Feng? At least he finished them and made it look easy. I think Mingyang Zhang's going to win this one. I feel like there's more power in his shots. Undefeated, younger. I know Ozzy is still finishing top guys in LFA, but I just like Zhang striking a little bit better. More so just the power that he possesses. He's stronger, still young. Ozzy has experience to get better guys, but Zhang has gotten that cage time. Mind you, it's the Wulin Fang cage time. And Zhang isn't a brawler. He's more technical, so it's not like some brawling guy from the Chinese regional scenes coming in to fight a guy who's actually fought legit competition in North America. Oh yeah, and there's a TKO there in deep. Let's go, baby. Good underdog is like there are actually some good underdog picks here, but I'm going with Mingyang Zhang on this one. Next fight, Volkan Ozdemir against Carlos Ulberg. The biggest test for Carlos Ulberg thus far, ladies and gentlemen. 10-1 as a pro, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He's the favorite in this one. 34 years of age, kickboxing crossover, 7 KO, TKO, 1 submission, 2 decisions, 6-1 in the UFC. Great win against Alonzo Menefield. Alonzo Menefield, not that great of a fighter though. Dawoon Jung submitted him. Dawoon Jung, hard guy to finish. Io Prateria, an absolute joke. So not surprised he beat him. Negun Mariano, decent. Especially beating him at when he was 13-1. Tafon Nchukwi, this win is aged horribly, but hey, it is what it is. His only loss was to Kennedy Nchukwu. Sorry about that, froze there for a sec. His only loss was to Kennedy Nchukwu, which again, that really hasn't aged that well either. Volkan Ozdemir has not been knocked out since fighting Yuri Prohaska in 2020. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights on a 2-fight win streak, knocking out Johnny Walker, who hasn't, but finishing Bogdan Guskov, which is a very good win, an up-and-coming prospect. He's the underdog here, which I think is a little crazy, but I think is a very good underdog. He's 35 years of age, and though he has more miles in MMA on his body than Carlos Ulberg. Carlos Ulberg, again, kickboxing crossover. It's not like he's only has 11 fights in his in his fighting career. And Volkan Ozdemir hasn't taken a lot of damage recently. This is also the biggest test for Carlos Ulberg. He hasn't fought anyone close to as talented as Volkan Ozdemir. So I'm picking Volkan Ozdemir to win. Unanimous decision. He's tough. I don't think Carlos Ulberg chins him. I think if Ozdemir lands clean, Ulberg will respect his striking. And I think Volkan Ozdemir has better grappling. Now, Carlos Ulberg, is he stronger? Yeah, he's a fucking beast, okay? So could he make this fight boring and try to out-grapple and control Ozdemir? Yes, I think he can do that. On the feet, I think Ozdemir beats him, man. I think Ozdemir has fought talented strikers at 205 before. Ulberg is nothing he hasn't seen. Now, am I like super bullish on this one? Fuck no. Ulberg could chin him. Ulberg has that power. Ulberg striking is damn good. And his low kicks are nasty as well. 13 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 5 decisions for Ozdemir, 8-6 in the UFC. Lost a decision to Krylov, Ankalaev, and Yuri Prohaska. I'm sorry. All 3 of those guys, right now anyways, are better than Ulberg. So we'll see. We'll see how this one turns out. Totally respect the striking of Ulberg. And if he beats Ozdemir, that's a huge test. Check that box. Okay, you've beaten somebody legit now. Now let's start feeding you the top of the division. I'm going with Volkan Ozdemir. Next fight up the card, Cong Wang against Gabriela Fernandez. Cong Wang, base goddess favorite fighter. Totally beat Valentina. No collusion whatsoever. Cong Wang, 6-0 as a pro, -950. I don't like that. I don't like that. Does she have knockout power? Yeah, against a freaking Victoria Leonardo, who doesn't have knockout power against her. But she hasn't knocked out many people in MMA other than her. A 3-3 gal she head kicked a year ago. 3 fights after that. Mind you, against pretty good competition. 5-2, 13-6, 3-1, given where she was at that point. Okay, challenging yourself a little bit. You're going to go the distance. But I don't know if she chins Gabriela Fernandez. Gabriela Fernandez, 9-3 is approach. Look, she ain't that great. 3-2 in her last 5. Split decision against Carly. Who the fuck is that gal? Judas, right? She's not that great. She's tough. Her grappling is fine. Her striking's not even close to the same level as Cong Wang. 2 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 4 decisions. Never been knocked out, has never been submitted. So unless Cong Wang lands clean with one of those hooks, I think she'll just probably piece her up for 3 rounds. Let's see how good Cong Wang's takedown defense is. Let's see if she can stuff takedowns. Let's see if she can survive the clinch and maybe land some big elbows in the clinch and try to get Fernandez to stop engaging. But overall, not really impressed with any of her wins. When she takes steps up in competition in Jasmine Vicious and friggin' Teresa Bledo, which is that really that big of a step up in competition? I guess it kind of is. She loses. Lost to Lucindo. Or actually beat Lucindo, which isn't a bad win, but that's like her only good win in her second pro win. Lucindo was 3-1. Yeah, we're going with Cong Wang in this one. I don't like the odds. I think that's crazy. I know it's under 1,000, but like still. But wicked kickboxing crossover, decent power. I do think you could make the argument that Gabriela Fernandez is more well-rounded. I just haven't seen Cong wrestle that much. But I did watch her UAE Warriors fight. And I watched the one in Road to UFC, and she did get a mounted guillotine submission in that one. So it's not like she doesn't have any jiu-jitsu training at all, but Fernandez is Brazilian, so she popped out of the womb with a couple stripes on her right, in a gi and a couple stripes on her white belt. Still going with Cong Wang. I think she wins a decision. Damage, points, doing more in the fight. Kenan Song against Muslim Salikov, the king of Kung Fu, returns, ladies and gentlemen. And though I think Kenan Song he does have some decent power. And again, one of those who's good everywhere, not great anywhere. Has decent power, enough to give, Ian Gary a little flash knock down there. Wrestling defense, okay. Like I said, he's fine everywhere, just not great anywhere. And it's not like his chin is anything special. Do I think Salikov is going to chin him? I mean, not unless he lands like a spinning heel kick. But right to the face, but still. I actually don't mind the odds for this one. Salikov is getting up there in age. He did look good against Santiago Ponzinibbio in that last fight. Split decision, but I had Salikov winning. Got TKO'd by Randy Brown, but Randy Brown, way more of a rangier striker than Kenan Song, who has to fight in the pocket, so I don't think Kenan Song is going to crack him at range. Dalby close, or not a close fight, but Nicholas Dalby still humming, and it went to decision. Good win against Fialho, but who hasn't cracked Fialho? And lost to Li Jingliang. So, I mean, Muslim Salikov, his last few fights haven't been the greatest. A lot of heart and technique and skills still showed in that last one. And do I think Ponzinibbio beats Kenan Song as well at this stage in his career? I do. Do I think that one's close? And do I think this one's probably close? Yes. I think this one goes to decision. I think Salikov outpoints him. And I think Salikov, if he wants, can out-grapple Kenan Song as well. We literally saw him do it against Ponzinibbio. Kenan Song, good win against, a win against Ricky Glenn. Honestly, I was more disappointed with Kevin Jousset in this one than I was Kenan Song, but still. Bedoya, that was actually a really good win. So it's one of those things. Kenan Song will have a good performance, bad performance, good performance, bad performance, and then like okay performances. Muslim Salikov, I think he has one more good performance in him. Certainly enough to take out Kenan Song. So yeah, Kenan Song has some power. He's not a bad underdog either. But yeah, Salikov showed grit in his last fight. Still pretty quick for 40 years of age, and Song's not that fast. This really could go either way, though. I don't think Song chins Salikov. I really hope he doesn't anyways. There's a slight possibility there, but I do think if this goes to decision, Salikov is going to have done more in this fight. Damage, control time, the whole 9 yards. And I doubt Salikov gets KO'd, but I'm knocking on wood. Not even because of my pick. I just, how can you not root for the king of Kung Fu? He still has a range in the pocket. or still has rangy kicks, sorry, and still has good boxing in the pocket, does Salikov. And he's good at scrambling. And we saw in his last fight, still has some grappling in his arsenal, but he is getting older. And the last thing I have in my notes is Still going King of Kung Fu. Co-main event of the evening. And again, thank you to everyone watching here. I know, and I said this off the bat, not being interactive in this stream because I'm firing through these picks so we can get to the deep stream, which is on right now. The card that's better than it's going to be better than the UFC and already is already showing that with all the finishes. But anyways, we'll get to that stream in a moment. We'll be totally interactive on the deep stream. We'll be totally interactive on the UFC stream. But a big shout out to everybody in the live chat here. Tabitha Ritchie, Baby Shark against Xiaonan Yan. Yan Xiaonan is going to absolutely beat the fuck out of Tabitha Ritchie. Tabitha Ritchie, she can't keep doing this. She can't keep getting away with winning close decisions against Angela Hill, close decisions against Tisha Pennington, when she really just swings at air and then just holds her opponents down without landing much damage. Judges, like a lot of the viewers, might be distracted with some of her other fighting assets. No, having said that, like, her striking has come a long way. Don't get me wrong. At range, she actually has some good kicks, but she's one of those fighters who just bounces around and swings at air, and I feel like puts the judges in a fucking trance and makes them think that she's actually landing when she's not landing a lot of her shots, especially not significant strikes. Yan Xiaonan is a boxer and striker that is not to be fucks with in the UFC. And though she probably should have lost, shout out to Herzog, in the first round against the Weili Zhang fight, she literally came back to life and put on a fucking hell of a fight. Definitely lost that one, but put on a hell of a fight against Weili Zhang, who's one of the best female fighters I've ever seen fight in the UFC. Good win against Jessica Andrade, knocked her out. Good win against Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern had nothing for her on the feet or on the ground, okay? So Yan Xiaonan, despite being more of a striker, actually has some takedown defense, actually has some escapability from the ground, and I think she'll hold her own in the clinch. I think she's better than Tabitha Ritchie pretty much everywhere other than offensive jiu-jitsu, but does Tabitha Ritchie really even employ that? Recently, she hasn't. So, yeah, I'm going with Yan. Yan's going to absolutely beat her up on the feet and get this fight right back to the feet if Tabitha Ritchie drags you to the ground in the clinch or anything of that sort. I mean, I feel like this is, yeah, she's minus 200 for a reason. The bad decisions have to stop for Tabitha Ritchie. I even wrote my note. Jan's going to fuck her up. Hill could have won. Jan's bigger and hits harder and is better on the feet, in my opinion. She can get up. She's not, and if she wasn't subbed by Dern or controlled much, Ritchie's not going to sub her or control her much. Well-rounded, but savage boxer who can escape a clinch and hit her opponent, especially on the exit. And she doesn't swing at air like Tabitha Ritchie. Main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Main event of the evening. Petr, Jesus Christ. Petr Yan against Deiveson Figueiredo. Deiveson Figueiredo, 24-3-1 as a pro. He's 4-1 in his last 5 fights, one of them being a doctor stoppage to Brandon Moreno. After that, he moved up a weight class. Great win against Rob Font. Great win against Cody Garbrandt. Great win against Marlon Chito Vera. I mean, he has wins over Brandon Moreno, really good boxer. Rob Font, only a boxer. And Cody Garbrandt, who is a boxer as well in MMA. Let's be perfectly honest. Cody Garbrandt ain't using his wrestling in mixed martial arts. Petr Yan, I think, is a better boxer, obviously, than Rob Font. Obviously better than Cody Garbrandt. But is he a better boxer than Brandon Moreno? I would say slightly yes, but Brandon Moreno is very, very good in the pocket as well. So people were saying, oh, Figueroa hasn't faced a boxer like Yan. Well, he's faced boxers. Honestly, his last few fights have been against boxers, all but Marlon Chito Vera. And he hits hard. Now, he hits hard early and then, kind of blow. Not that he doesn't have good cardio, because look at all the 5-round fights he went with Moreno too, right? Like, he has good cardio, but definitely has the power in the first 3 rounds. If this was 3 rounds, I'd be very confident on Figueiredo. And I honestly think Figueiredo would be the favorite if this was 3 rounds. The fact that it's 5 rounds of Petr Yan is very good at managing his gas tank. I mean, look at what he did against Corey Sandhagen. And I know Corey Sandhagen fight on short notice, but it wasn't like a week's notice. I believe it was like 2 weeks notice. And Yan definitely came back strong after, I don't want to say coasting, but almost like downloading data and like conserving his energy early. Whereas Deiveson Figueiredo is like the opposite. Not that he gassed himself out, but you definitely see the best of Figueiredo early in fights, in my opinion. Deiveson Figueiredo, ladies and gentlemen, is quite a bit older as well. He has been more active than Jan, and I feel like he's been less injured than Jan as well recently. 9 KO TKOs, 9 submission, 6 decision. I feel like Jan, he said he was going to take some time off to like recover both mentally and physically. I think he faced some injuries after his last fight. 13, 3-1 in the UFC, 3-0 in Jungle Fight. Man, he's only had 3 losses in an amazing career, and 2 of them were to Brandon Moreno. Unbelievable. And after losing to who the fuck is that guy? Pantoja, Elliott, Benavidez twice, Perez, Moreno. I mean, holy fuck, bro. Garbrandt, Font, and Vera. Petr Yan, 2-3 in his last 5 fights, but has not even been close to as active as Figueiredo. 31 years of age, 7 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 9 decision, 9-4 in the UFC, 6-1 in ACB. Great win against Song Yadong back in March. Before then, it was a year ago where he lost to Marab. Again, control time loss. Split decision O'Malley, really could have gone either way. Really good fight. Lost to Sterling via control time. The Corey Sandhagen fight. Again, Sandhagen actually made him look human after we didn't think he could do any wrong other than illegally kneeing his opponents in the face, but that should be legal. It's a stupid rule. UFC's fake MMA. This is a little bit of a swing, I guess, but I'm going with Figgy. I do think this goes 5 rounds. I think Jan wins 2 of the rounds. I think Figgy does enough damage to win 3 of the rounds. This one's going to be a razor close decision, maybe even a split decision, but I am going with Figueiredo on damage. I think early on in the fight, he has the more convincing rounds. I don't think he'll KO round, but has fought good strikers and boxers and have hurt them and almost cracked Vera as well. But again, like I said, Font, Moreno, Cody, all boxers. Again, the only one who kind of rivals the technique of Jan and skill, I'd say, would be Moreno. But yeah, Jan probably better than Moreno as far as just pure boxing goes. Yeah, he must manage his gas tank a little bit because this is 5 rounds. Jan probably does that better, but Figgy is good and also a better grappler, in my opinion. So Figgy could resort to grappling in, say, like the 3rd or 4th round to kind of just secure a round via control time and maybe, I don't want to say stall, but in a 5-round fight, sometimes you have to have those strategic rounds. And if you can win a round by doing a little bit of damage and out grappling your opponent, I mean, I do think Figgy has the edge on Petr Yan in the grappling. So if he does slow down and start just in the striking and starts to get hit with some of those shots by Yan or some of those elbows in close range, yeah, maybe take this to the ground, fight around on the ground, and then try to land those big body shots towards the end. There's that option. Do I think Figgy's going to use it? Probably not, but it's 5 rounds, so who knows? Who knows? He did show it against Moreno at times. But yeah, damage / a little bit more control time. I'm giving it to Figueiredo. 3 rounds to 2, split or unanimous decision. That is my pick. My lock of the card is Xiaocan Feng. My degenerate parlay, Ming, Jose Ochoa, Gabriela Fernandez. Safe parlay, Mingyang Zhang, Quan Li, and Yao Xiaonan. Here are my picks. We'll refer back to them during the UFC stream. I'm not going to change them. And yeah, that is it for the UFC picks and predictions video, ladies and gentlemen. Join us on the deep stream. I'm going to start it in about 5 to 10 minutes. I know we're an hour late into deep, but that's okay. That's okay. We missed some fire prelims, but we're only 2 fights into the main card. And then I'll get to just the last little bit of your guys' comments here. But we're going to be interactive on the deep stream. Here is Quan Li, dog of the card. Dude, Quan Li, is he the underdog now? I thought he was the favorite. Okay, so Quan Li was the favorite yesterday. He was the favorite yesterday. That's crazy. Jan's the only fighter I truly don't like. I'm actually more hyped for this than the dumb John Jones fight. What's up, Hidden? Jan's going to win by TKO. Bro, I started to pick up DJing now during my weekends. I'm almost done with my shift in Amsterdam. Time to double my money. Let's go. Bouncer, DJ, MMA fighter, Volkan. You're the man. Guys, join us. And again, I'm sorry I wasn't super interactive during this stream. We had to fire through, but join us on the deep stream. We're going to fire this up over here. Join us for the deep stream if you're watching this late. If you just joined us now, well, rewind the tape. But we're going to go watch some Japanese MMA. Real MMA, superior rule set. Fuck the UFC. Deep Tokyo, 5th round. Not even fuck the UFC. I'm streaming UFC over Deep Jewels. I'm a casual, ladies and gentlemen. Back on the other side, do not go anywhere. I want to hit all your comments. I want to see everything that you guys said in regards to my picks. Hit me up in the deep stream now. Links in the live chat. Back on the other side, don't go anywhere. More MMA as the marathon continues. Deep UFC, Cage Warriors, and then BKFC. We ain't stopping, ladies and gentlemen. Only take quick breaks between these streams, but that is it. See you on the other side. Join me for Deep, then UFC. Peace. I'm out of here.